Putin News Now. Putin's regime unravels as blame game over terror act backfires. Ex-Russian President Dmitry Medvedev, who was then the country's Deputy Security Council chairman, had already accused the Ukrainian government of being guilty for the massacre at Moscow's Crocus City Mall before the terrorists themselves had been arrested. A day of mourning was proclamation by Russian President Vladimir Putin the following day, who simultaneously claimed that terrorists were trying to conceal and were marching toward Ukraine. Bryansk, which is closer to Belarus than Ukraine, is around 200 miles from Moscow, and that's where the suspects were apprehended. Before Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko blocked the border at Vladimir Putin's behest, that was their intended destination, according to Lukashenko. Mr. Putin and his director of the Federal Security Service persisted in accusing the United States, Britain, and Ukraine of complicity in the terrorist attack without presenting any proof, until a few days later when he finally acknowledged that radical Islamists were responsible. There is no non-state media, no actual legislative scrutiny, and no independent and impartial court in modern Russia. With no one outside of the Kremlin and what Putin calls the vertical of power to answer to, the fate of the nation rests solely on his shoulders. That is the fundamental fragility of autocracies. The ISIS-K branch of the Islamic State tragically carried out this attack, which was eerily similar to others, such as the 2002 Dubrovka theater attack, the 2004 Beslan school massacre, the 2010 Moscow metro station suicide bombings, the 2017 St. Petersburg subway bombing that killed 15 innocent people, and the 2022 suicide attack at the Russian embassy in Kabul. The CIA provided Russia with information that helped them prevent a terrorist strike in St. Petersburg in 2017. One further instance of Mr. Putin's intelligence failing him was this most recent occurrence. The FSB was unable to identify or prevent the danger. The authorities did not protect the perimeter after the incident had taken place, and the assailants had already left. Further investigation into the network that provided the funds and weapons for the most recent attack, as well as the possibility that any Crocus City Mall insiders helped the perpetrators, is now required by the FSB. Before Mr. Putin ordered his invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, the FSB, which was responsible for gathering intelligence in the former Soviet Union, also made an inaccurate assessment of Ukraine's fighting spirit and capabilities. The man in charge of gathering intelligence on Ukraine, Sergei Beseda, a director general of the FSB Fifth Service, served his sentence at Lefortovo prison. Prior to launching an assault, terrorists perform reconnaissance. That was perhaps our best and last chance to identify the danger. People here in the US are good at speaking out when they notice anything. The vigilant citizens who have faith in their local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies are frequently our only hope in times of crisis. But in Russia, the FSB doesn't have that kind of relationship with many of the people it claims to help. Denying opponents the right to freely express themselves and gather in large numbers is central to the FSB's strategy for stifling popular opposition. Following the unexplained death of opposition leader Alexei Navalny, the FSB was extra aggressive in the weeks preceding Mr. Putin's fake election last month.